Hey, Dr. Gene Clerkin here, and I want to welcome you to Unlocking Your Chronic Inflammation Code. And it's a mini-series where I'm going to walk you through step by step how to start to identify the root cause factors that are driving inflammation in your body. In other words, cracking your chronic inflammation code. And if you're watching this series, it's chances are maybe your body's not feeling as good as you'd like. Maybe you don't have the energy you'd like. Maybe your body's starting to hurt, joints and muscles. Maybe you've got brain fog, maybe hot flashes, maybe chronic inflammation, thyroid issues, or some kind of autoimmune condition. And it's not so much the condition that we have or the name that we've been given, but sometimes how these things begin to encroach upon our quality of life, and we find ourselves not participating as much as we used to. Maybe you say like, oh, I used to do that, but I don't do that anymore, or bowing out of certain activities, not participating as much as you'd like to. That's the real crime of chronic inflammation in our body, and it happens slowly over time. So sometimes you don't even realize how much less we're participating in life. And if you're like most clients that I've worked with, they've probably been around the block a few times. You've probably tried a few things. You've been to the doctor and they gave you a diagnosis maybe and said, here, we can manage this with this medication. Maybe you've tried changing your diet, but you didn't quite know what the right diet was, and you didn't know if it was really helping, so sustaining it was hard. Maybe you've tried to throw some supplements at it. That's pretty common, but a lot of supplements are kind of crappy, and if you don't know how to use them and what to use, that can also be a challenge. Maybe you've gotten the labs and they say, oh, your labs are out of balance, and then here, levothyroxine or Synthroid, or you're within range, so we'll just watch it until later. It can be very frustrating, and when you've tried a bunch of things and it doesn't work, then you get to the point where it's like you don't want to try anything anymore because you feel like you're going to fail again, and it's like, oh my God, I've done this, I've been down this road, I've been getting promises and answers, and like this is going to work, and it doesn't work. And so that can be challenging because it demoralizes you, and you feel hopeless, you feel helpless, you feel frustrated, demoralized, and you just not get anywhere. So I understand this because I experienced it myself. I mean, when I was a kid, I was never sick, but I did like sugar a lot. I used to drink out of the sugar bowl and eat cookies and milk every day for lunch. And in college, I was sort of more balanced. It was spaghetti, ramen noodles, mac and cheese, pizza, subs, wings, and beer, right? But I was an athlete. I played ice hockey and soccer from the time I was 7 years old, all the way through high school, college, and beyond. And when you're active like that, it staves off a lot of issues. But in my mid-20s, I remember, feeling like my body was just not off. I'm going to chiropractic school, so I'm waking up. I need coffee to get through the day. I'm gassy. I'm bloated. My brain is foggy. I got love handles. And I remember getting home from practice one day and going, man, I'm 27 years old and I feel like I'm 90. By the time I'm 35, I can't play ice hockey or soccer. I can't even run across the yard because my body hurts so bad. And as time went on, it got to the point where I could barely function in life. And so all of my extracurricular activities went out the window. Certainly even my ability to work became compromised. I could only work about half the time. So obviously I tried to figure out the answers. I went to the doctors and they said, oh, you have gout. I said, cool, well, great. What do we do about it? They said, well, you can manage the symptoms with this allopurinol one a day for the rest of your life. But I said, but why did it happen? They said, well, it just happens. And so I tried changing my diet, and that was, I don't know, limited success. I thought I would be successful, but then I would have a flare up. So when you don't know if the diet's working, it's hard to stick to it. But I tried vegetarian, Mediterranean, and carnivore, and ketovore, and every diet, AIP, everything you could imagine. And I just couldn't get there. And again, I tried supplements, but sometimes it seemed like the supplements may be worse. Like I wasn't getting anywhere. I didn't even know if they were working. And I even tried, I remember at one point, there was a medical intuitive that she had a waitlist practice, and I was on the wait list, and I got the call one day, oh, Wednesdays at 1:30, you want it? I was like, I'll take it. And so I did. There was one session a week, $150 a session, over a year and a half. So that's about $12,000. And again, still disappointment. I just couldn't get there. And I realized, all these things were good, but had to put them together in the right formula. And so I started to be combining like root cause identification, like what's going on under the surface here, getting the body detoxified, repairing the digestive system, also another important piece of the puzzle, the right nutrition for the right situation. Once you understand what's going on, then you can apply the right nutrition, nerve system regulation, because you can't heal when you're stressed, and healing old stress and trauma patterns, because those are the things that bind up your energy and keep you stuck and keep us stuck in like destructive cycles that affect our health and our lives. And eventually this formula became what I call functional wellness. And functional needs just going upstream to root cause. And wellness simply means, beyond just physical health. Yeah, we want our physical health, but life enjoyment, stress resilience, relationships, self-esteem, success, even abundance, all fall in the category of wellness. And so just a little analogy here to help you give kind of a big picture understanding of what's going on. Imagine you have a pond and it's polluted. The fish in that pond are going to begin to get sick. And a medical approach, and even a lot of natural health practitioners, focus on treating the fish. But a wellness approach asks a different question. What is going on with a pond? Why is it polluted? Because if you clean the pond, then the fish naturally get better. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this series, how to get the pond cleaned up so you can get to the layer of what's causing inflammation in your body. And once you can do that, you can start turning things around and you can feel so much better energy, better sleep, less pain, clearer thinking. Even confidence comes back when you get to the root of all this, because all this stuff's connected. So after, this formula, the same formula that I'm sharing with you, I've shared with thousands of people over decades, and I used it myself. And something incredible happened at the age of 50, after 15 years of being sidelined and not being able to participate and play hockey and ice, all that stuff. I was back on the ice playing hockey. And now I'm 59 and I play on 4 different teams and I coach both my kids' hockey teams. And I'm not saying this to brag, but what I'm saying is that if I can do it, then so can you. And so that's what I'm going to share with you in this series. So unlocking your chronic inflammation code, I'm going to take you again through a step-by-step process, identifying unique factors, and how to decode it. And when you can begin restoring balance in the body, then you start to get your life back. So in the next video, I'm going to break down what exactly chronic inflammation is, how it develops, why it's at the root of nearly every chronic disease, really every chronic disease that there is today. And I'm going to share a special insight that will turn everything that you think on its head. And once you understand this, everything else will make sense. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Dr. Gene Clerkin, Monadnock Natural Health.